Start today is running a few minutes late, so we'd invite you to fuel up with some coffee and some breakfast, and once our elder gets here, we'll be starting with the prayer and getting the show on the road. Thanks.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm just passing this on here.
Yeah, I have to go get a name tag so I know who I am. I'm going to move over and take him.
It's already beginning.
Because I don't want to go up here. I want to sit up there. Sit there close to
Yeah.
The one bad thing about starting you should never start. Oh yeah. You would have
We're a little bit behind on schedule here. Our elder that was going to do the opening prayer is dealing with some medical issues, like family issues. We're waiting for his replacement, but in the meantime, Cookby Christian and whoever's going to join him are going to do a welcome song.
Kukstakol kukbikia for.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be the MC for the event. My name is Mike Christian. I'm a Split Gene member. I was one of the masterminds of this event, along with a few others, and I guess from people usually ask me what my expectations. This is it right now. You showed up. I want to thank you for that. I wanted to introduce. You all have an agenda in your package. So it's the blue copy. So I'll be after call up Cookby Gottfredson up here to do the official welcome to the territory. We'll get going on this. So we'll get Cookby Gottfredson to come up and do a welcome.
Godfather. Wake up, include Cookby and Spear and Squest at the Kamloops. Thanks, Chief Wayne, for waking us up this morning. I think it's always a good thing when we can share our culture and our prayers and our songs and do things in a good way as we gather. I think that's why we're here today, and looking at a conference is a lot of planning, a lot of work. I know were hounding me for a lot of information for a long time. I don't know if we got it in or not, but oh good, we got it. But I think the conference, with all the activity that's happening around the country right now, I think this conference is a very timely conference. I think it's a very well thought out conference. I think when you look at the agenda and the list of speakers and the topics that are going to be taking place over the next couple of days, it's really important, that I feel like the stage is going to fall over. That it's on wheels. That the agenda is a very, I think, insightful agenda, and I think we're all here to, look at, how we can, share what the presenters have in the way of taking back and implementing in your communities. And I think that's really important. I think that's the good thing about us First Nations people. We're always good at sharing and, putting our ideas so we can look at implementing back at home. As our nation, I'm also the tribal chief for the Shuswap Nation as well. So I welcome the visiting chiefs, councillors to our territory. One of the things that we've been working very hard at within our nation is talking about unity. I think when you talk about unity, it's always based on the principles of our language and our culture. And I think as we move forward, and we start to, I think, peel that orange and start to discover, what our objectives are as a nation. I think the stewardship and protection of our land is very important. Speaking from the Kamloops' perspective, I think when you look at our cultural assets that we do have as First Nations people, our traditional territory, our special places where our ancestors have been put away, and I think with the development that's happening all around our territories, I think there's a lot of signs that have showed us that our ancestors were put away, and now they're starting to be unveiled with all the work that's happening with the busyness of development. And I think our responsibility as Yuhminku is to look after and protect our lands both on the reserve and within our traditional territory. I think one of the things that the Kamloops Indian Band that we do have is a cultural heritage bylaw that we use. That's our sort of cornerstone of any sort of thing that development that transpires over our territory. We invoke our cultural heritage bylaw, and there's a number of triggers that we make happen and use that cultural heritage study because we believe that that study is important to us, just like I think why we're here today to talk about you know, the resource forum. I think our natural resources, for a long time, many of us witnessed our natural resources being taken from our territory, and I think that time is now coming to an end and being organized, and that's why I say this conference, again, is a timely conference. I got 3 minutes? I got 3 minutes, okay. That, you know, the conference is timely, that we, you know, really look at trying to find a unified approach towards working with some consistent models when industry does come to our territory in a protection and assertion of our Aboriginal title rights, and of course the protection of our lands, our cultural heritage sites. And I just want to say that I want to thank Chief Wayne and his council members for, you know, having the vision to help host this conference. I think that takes leadership in itself. I think a lot of people talk about things, but they never ever do anything. You know, and I think on the bottom of my email, if you ever get an email from me, I always say action speaks louder than words. I think there's a lot of fluff out there from people, and you know, our people are starting to move with the I Don't Know More movement, which is good. It's about time our people start waking up and supporting our leadership and the work that we do. I support, you know, the work that you know, I Don't Know More has been doing, and I believe that it's a key forum to bring educational awareness to everybody. And I think our messages today are really focused around protection, assertion of our Aboriginal title and rights and our resources. And I just want to say it's good to see our retired senator. I went to his retirement dinner. I noticed a cowboy hat in the room. I said, I thought he retired. But I guess not. It's good to see you know, a lot of people here today. So, and again, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be able to address you, both from the Kamloops Indian Band and the Shuswap Nation Tribal Council. Coach Jeff, on my relations.
So I'm next on the agenda, so I'm kind of laying out the what the objectives are for the meeting, for the forum, for the gathering, whatever you want to label it. I guess part of it, Louise, can you pull up the objectives up on the screen? So when we applied, I was just talking with Jerry Collins earlier about this. It's been just between her and I, it's been over a 4-year task to try and get this happening, and it's a major relief to finally have it or see it happening. So I wanted to introduce the team. We have a steering committee. Jerry Collins, of course, is one of them. Jackie Bandura, where is she? She's over here somewhere. Co-facilitator is both Jerry and Katrina, and hopefully I didn't. And then we have at the table here Louise Farrell, and Elizabeth Brown. She's the sled chief. And there's probably going to be Sue floating around out there as well. as you can see up there, like this was the project objectives. It's kind of a work in progress as well. The original intent was to, this is a learning event. And it's good to see some of the youth, non-Aboriginal and Aboriginal or Indigenous people here as well. There's been mention of idle no more, and these are some of the things that we need to talk about to move some of these issues forward. The end result of this forum, and some of the people that are in the audience here are going to be taking notes throughout the discussions and the presentations, and it's going to lead to ultimately to the development of a policy group. If you're aware of what policy is, you're better off than I am, because it's a pretty confusing issue out there. But what we're expecting to see in the future is alignment within public policy, along with the policy that we as Indigenous people establish. Most specifically, because this is a cultural use forum, and if you're aware of what cultural use is, it's a little bit beyond just plants and berry picking and so on and so forth. There's spiritual aspects. Cookby Godfredson touched a bit on it. My brother Wayne is going to be speaking a little bit more in depth on it next, right after me, and so on and so forth. So the speakers were picked specifically to deal or to address the politics, the economics, the actual cultural side of things, with around language, around the plants. You see some displays around the outside of the room there. There's representation from those people as well. So, and for those of you that are getting baskets, Sitka Traditions Society has actually provided us with some of their product, which is actually made from raw material from out there in the wild as well. So we've got people talking about food sovereignty and so on and so forth. And but rather than getting too deep into that, there's some rules of engagement here. Please ensure that your cell phones are on vibrate or off. If they do go off and if it's audible, then you have to contribute $10 to the Shoe Shop Youth group. There's a rep back there. She'll collect the money for you. Conversations, like when people are speaking, I would really like for people to have the respect when people are speaking up here, to pay attention. Like, this is all about active listening and active learning and so forth. So if you have to answer a call or go talk, please go outside, out of earshot. And we're trying to get everybody, including me. I haven't gotten the 5-minute sign yet, have I?
1 minute.
So I didn't want to waste a bunch of time talking myself, because that was the reason why we asked all these speakers to come and speak. So anyways, I'll just cut it off there, and I'll bring up my my brother Wayne, my Koopy.
I'm just going to do a business card draw to get us started before Chief Wayne speaks. We are. Co-facilitation is great, isn't it, guys? We're just going to get the business card draw, and we've got a bunch of amazing prizes that folks have donated. And Sue's going to do the first draw. I can do the first draw. So Avis Denault. Avis, we've got some wonderful earrings up here that have been donated by Dora Casper. Dora's over at the table. She's one of the artisans. And we'll do one other draw soon now, please. Avis?
Richard Manuel?
Richard at the back. Richard, I think it's going to fit. I haven't seen you in a few years, Richard, but let's see. These are donated by Dan George, Four Directions Management Services. Is that looking okay? And then a bath bomb that...
So, just want to read my bro's bio here. Could be Christian. Of course, we're of Sheputnik and Okanagan ancestry. He's a proud father of 7 children and 12 is it still 12? 18 grandchildren now. So this bio is a little bit dated. He is a former chair for the SNTC, Nation Tribal Council as well. Currently, could be, he's done a lot of things in relation to health. He's still doing a lot of that work. He's a pretty busy guy, pretty hard to nail down. So anyways, without further ado, Wayne, if you want to come up here and start the discussion off. Let's go.
Something odd about this thing, right? Waiko Haikap, and Squest Wanokchin and Jawa Kukpi Spalatina. I'm Chief Wayne Christian from Spalatin. Before I begin, I just want to acknowledge the ancestors of the land here, the ancestors of the present day the Kamloops of the Sokapan Nation, and honor Kukpi Shane and his council members that are here. I want to also acknowledge all the Kukpi and chiefs and Komipala that are here from the different communities. And I think it's really important also, we've got a cross-section of people here from sort of different ranges and different sort of venues, whether you're in government, really appreciate you coming, whether you're local government, provincial government, or you work in the bureaucracy. The speakers we have, just to honor the words they're going to share with you. But most importantly, I really want to thank the sponsors. We're going to make presentations throughout the event. For this to happen, is the sponsors came through and sponsored different parts of this, and we'll be honoring them through the process. I just wanted to really honor them, and let's give them a big hand for contributing to this process. And I think also I really want to say that before I begin is to acknowledge the elders that are here, but more importantly the youth. I know there's a youth group here. If you could stand up and be recognized, because these are the future leaders of our communities and the work that we're doing. So it's really important. So listen well, take good notes. There's a test later. What I'm going to do, starting this off, I'm going to read from sections of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, as well as the 1910 Memorial to Sir Wilfrid Laurier. The reason for that, it gives a real good foundation in terms of, we talk of policy, and we talk of the connection to the land, we talk about the medicines and plants, and talk about that in that context. And I'll go through that and really sort of give examples as to how this relates to us today. 2 different documents. One was done in 1910. The other one was ratified on September 13th, 2010. 100 years apart, but our ancestors in 1910 had a vision, and that vision still carries on today. And you hear Kukpi Shane talk about it and the work that they're doing, and I'll talk about that. So that's what I'm going to do to start this off. Article 26 of the UN Declaration says this, subsection 1,
Indigenous people have the right to the lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used or acquired. Subsection 2. Indigenous people have the right to own, use, develop, and control the lands, territories, and resources they possess by reason of traditional ownership or other traditional occupation or use, as well as those they have otherwise acquired. You know, that concept is really important because in 1910, this is what our ancestral leaders had to say. The country of each tribe was just the same as a very large farm or ranch, belonging to all people of the tribe, from which they gathered their food and clothing, etc. Fish which they got in plenty for food, grass and vegetation of which our horses grazed and the game lived on, and much of which furnished materials for manufacture, etc. Stone which furnished pipes, utensils and tools, trees which furnished firewood materials for houses and utensils, plants, roots, seeds, nuts, and berries which grew abundantly and were gathered in their season just the same as crops on a ranch. Really important concept. It was not like our people were out in the territory running around willy-nilly. They actually managed the territory as a ranch and as land. It's kind of like when you look at that, it's really important to understand that concept. So today we talk of cultural resources, we're talking about management of the territory in a very similar manner. It's not a new concept. It's been around for our people since time immemorial. That's the way we looked after ourselves. That's the way we took care of the Tamith and those gifts that were given to us. They were abundantly gathered in seasons just the same as crops on a ranch and used for food, minerals, shells, etc., which are used for ornament and plants, and water, which is free for all. It's really important to understand, the concept of mining today. As you hear some presentations on it, mining is not a new thing for our people. You have to understand, if you look at our history of our people actually mined in the territory different things that we used, whether it was for sacred purposes or whether it was used for trade. We did that in an active way. And you have to understand that today when we talk of mining, we're talking of going into the earth and different things like that. But our people did this as a way of trade. Copper was one of the big things that was mined and traded in the interior. The arrowheads and those things that are found, if you look at how the trade routes go, you'll see a lot of the things that originate here and went out to all four sacred directions. It was part, again, of what we did. We traded and really made sure that those things were important for our survival at that time. And they talk about water, which was free for all. You kind of wonder about that. Was it really a free-for-all for water? No. But yeah, water is important, especially in today's context when we talk about the Navigational Water Act, where it's a Bill C-45, and the importance of water and protection and those things and how sacred that is to our people. And I view it in this way, in the context, it's kind of like, if you understand water, you'll understand that that's the lifeblood of everything. All of us that are sitting here, not only us, but also the four-legged, the winged ones,